Hello. Today is January 22nd, Wednesday, 2025. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, USA. And here today, the weather is accompanied by an advisory for cold. I had planned on actually taking the week and observing the new administration, but here I am, again, Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. So I want to remind you before I get into the weather that this particular winter is part of a 10-year cycle when the weather in the winter is usually more severe. So it's not regular winter that we're going through, but part of that 10-year cycle where conditions and temperatures reach extreme degrees. So again, coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Let's get into the weather. Yesterday, here, we were under two weather advisories. One for snow flurries, which was affecting visibility. And the second one, was cold with warnings about hypothermia. So that's still in effect. It's a little bit before sunrise here on the East Coast until 10 a.m. today. So the advice that goes with that cold weather advisory for today, for Lexington and the surrounding areas, reads as follows. Impacts: very cold temperatures can lead to hypothermia with prolonged exposure. Precautionary preparedness actions: make frequent checks on older family, friends, and neighbors. Ensure portable heaters are used correctly. Do not use generators or grills outside. And this is in effect for South Central Indiana and East Central, North Central, Northwest, and South Central Kentucky at this time. And as I said, will remain in effect until 10 a.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, and 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. So the symptoms of hypothermia, since it's being mentioned in the weather advisory, are shivering, confusion, drowsiness, slurred speech, slowed breathing or heart rate, pale and cold skin. Currently, the temperature here is -3, and will go all the way up to 23 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. Over the next few days, it will remain cold and won't be up into the 40s until maybe Friday, and then on through Saturday, Sunday, in the early part of, starting Saturday into the early days of next week before we get temperatures back in the 40s. So today here in Lexington, Kentucky, partly cloudy, highs in the low 20s and lows in the mid-teens. Winter storm across the country, reports are coming in. Winter storm dumps snow from Texas to Florida. Flu risk remains high over the next few days. Florida sees heaviest snowfall in state's history. Deadly 1,500-mile paralyzing winter storm. An icy wake-up for Houston as winter storm moves in. Today in this area, sunrise will be at 7:49 a.m. and sunset at 5:50 p.m. Wind 1 mile per hour. Yesterday the wind was about 10 miles per hour, I think. And when you get the cold weather and the wind with it, that's when you start really feeling it being outside. The AQI is moderate at 52. Again, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. And if you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I thought it would be interesting again, since this happens to be a 10-year cycle type winter that we're going through. We all have these impressions of winter months and things that we carry with us in regards to winter should do and should not do. So I thought I would cover debunking 6 myths about your health during winter months. And this article is taken from the Henry Ford Health magazine, and it was posted on December 18th, 2024 by the Henry Ford Health staff. So here we go. It's short, but we'll get into it. Most Michigan residents know how unpredictable winter weather can be. Freezing temperatures can shake the state one day, and then record highs, can melt it all away the next. One thing you might not know about this season is how the weather affects your body, so you can make the best choices for you and your family's health. Here, Alexis Fetterman, D.O., a primary care physician at Henry Ford Health, debunks 6 wintertime myths so that you can stay healthy this time of year. Myth number 1, you lose most of your body heat through your head. The truth? It depends. While it may look like your head is releasing steam after a long jog on a cold day, you don't lose any more heat out of the top of your head compared to the rest of your body. In fact, you can shed heat from any part of the body that is facing the elements. That said, children tend to lose a higher percentage of body heat through their heads. The reason? Compared to adults, their heads are larger in relation to their bodies. Throwing on a hat before going outside can help avoid the chilled air. Excuse me. Many people have hair too, which adds a protective layer from the winter cold. If you want to avoid messing up your hair with a hat, try earmuffs or headbands as an alternative. Myth number 2, going outside without a coat will make you sick. The truth? Not true. When you step outside and notice your nose starts running and you feel congested, that isn't because you are suddenly coming down with something. It is because of the cold air. You get sick in the winter because you get a virus or bacteria, not because you spent time in the cold, Dr. Fetterman says. During winter months, people are inside more, which allows germs to spread easily. When one person gets sick, the likelihood that others will get sick increases. There are more than 200 viruses that can cause a cold, so there's a chance that any one of them can spread in the winter as people spend more times indoors. This increased exposure to germs transmitted through air or when in contact with infected surfaces can eventually make it into your nose, mouth, and eyes. Focus your attention on keeping your indoor spaces clean. Regularly disinfect frequently touched surfaces and wash your hands often to avoid spreading germs. Myth number 3, drinking hot liquids warms you faster than cold liquids. The truth? Not true. While drinking a cup of hot chocolate or other warm beverage after spending time outside is a winter activity many people enjoy, it doesn't really warm you up any faster than drinking cold liquids. Adding a hot liquid to your body does increase body temperature slightly, but the warming effect is minimal. Drinking warm liquids actually could be cooling your body, Dr. Fetterman says. Your body senses the warm liquid and thinks the body temperature is increased, so it works to lower it by producing sweat. That's not to say you can't enjoy a warm beverage during the winter. In fact, hot drinks have a psychological effect that can improve your mood and emotional well-being. Additionally, staying hydrated is just as important in the winter as it is in the summer. When it is cold, your body doesn't recognize it's thirsty as well. If you plan to spend time outside this winter, make sure you are consuming enough fluids and eating plenty of hydrating foods like fruits and vegetables. Myth number 4, vitamin C prevents colds. The truth, not true. We know that vitamin C does help your immune system function well. It helps with wound healing and even collagen, joint and tendon protection. Overall, though, vitamin C taken in extra doses to prevent common colds hasn't proven to be true. It won't usually hurt you to take vitamin C, but it doesn't significantly help you either, Dr. Fetterman says. It won't prevent you from getting a cold, but it could speed up the recovery process in some people. For most people, a healthy diet provides an adequate amount of this vitamin, as well as other essential nutrients that can boost your immune system. It's best to talk with your healthcare provider before adding any type of supplements to your diet. Myth number 5, women are colder than men. The truth, it's tricky. The core body temperature of women is a bit warmer than men, but studies have found that a woman's exterior body temperature can be up to 3 degrees colder than a man's, Dr. Fetterman says. Core body temperature may also change during perimenopause and postmenopause as well. Declines in estrogen can contribute to hot flashes, night sweats, and temperatures sensitivity. A cooler external body temperature helps explain why many women tend to have colder extremities, like hands and feet, while men don't often experience this sensation. If you do find that you're cooler than you are comfortable with during the winter, consider dressing in layers so you can control how warm or cold you feel. Myth number 6, fluctuating temperatures make you sick. The truth, it depends. Viruses and bacteria are the main culprits of wintertime illnesses, not the extremes in climate. So while mid-60-degree days in February are uncommon in Michigan, they aren't to blame for your runny nose and sore throat. However, if you have conditions like seasonal allergies or asthma, the varying temperatures could cause some issues that may present challenges for your immune system. Sometimes our bodies have a difficult time adjusting, which can trigger an illness. If you struggle with allergies or asthma, pay attention to the weather and make sure you are prepared by having a prescribed medication for your condition on hand. Also, be sure to change heating or air filters in your home every 6 months. Mucus in the nose also plays an important part in you avoiding illness. Mucus helps trap bacteria we breathe in before it can cause an infection, Dr. Fetterman says. However, low humidity in heated environments can cause the lining in our nose to get dry, making it easier for germs to invade the body. An easy remedy, consider using a humidifier in your home to moisten the air. Staying healthy during the winter can be a challenge, but not impossible. Keeping your body nourished, hydrated, and active can help you feel your best regardless of the time of year. If you do begin feeling under the weather during the winter months, Fortunately, there are plenty of best practices to follow to help you recover quickly. Again, this is from Dr. Alexis Fetterman, a primary care doctor who sees patients at Henry Ford Medical Center. So I thought I would share that with you since we are in winter months. And again, a reminder that this is a not often experienced, but a 10-year cycle in extreme weather conditions for the winter this year, this winter, 2020-25. So Monday was the inauguration of Donald Trump as President of the United States for a second term. Federal, state, and local governments were closed. I think the only thing that was moving was the private sector. And on top of that, it was a celebration for Martin Luther King Day, January 2025. The Martin Luther King celebration is something that in previous years, I've spent time away from Lexington within the last few years, and now I've returned. But prior to that, the Martin Luther King celebration was something that I often found myself participating in. And that was in the capacity of an event staff person. I know we see all these events on television, inauguration, everything, and you see the waiters moving around, serving the people and all that kind of stuff. That's what I did. So at this point, I want to take a moment to acknowledge event staff companies and event staff personnel. Because in particular, with the Martin Luther King Day celebration, breakfast, speakers, march, and all of that, event staff personnel have to be at the site, wherever they are in whatever city it might be, at around 4 a.m. or be there and ready to go, start work at 4 a.m. And I know here in Lexington, it's been my experience that the guest usually averages around 600 people. And if you've ever tried, well, most people have not, so I'm not even going to say it that way. Setting up an event for 600 people takes a lot of coordination and stick-to-itness. So I wanted to acknowledge that. So here in Lexington, but it does have its perks. You get to travel in some cases if you want to. I've been to Tennessee, I've been to Indiana, I've been to Ohio for various events and situations, sporting and otherwise, but mostly just events because it is event staffing. So that's broadened my experience about the surrounding area and given me opportunities to see things and go places that I probably would not ordinarily choose to go on my own. So I just wanted to put that in there for the Martin Luther King celebration, the video clips that were shown on TV. They did have the breakfast, the speakers, and the march, and I think the events were all concluded at least by 3 a.m. And here in Lexington, public bus service was routed away from downtown. So it was running, but there were no bus service for the downtown area because of the parade. So that was Monday here in Lexington. Across the nation, and I did see some faces that I recognized from Kentucky State University, so I wanted to add that in there too as well. Video clips and things of that nature that were aired on broadcast TV. So that being said, that was Monday, and then the inauguration of the president, which started in the early mornings hours and continued until the evening, although it was a short break for national news in the evening and a few programs, and then resumed with the ball. So that totals to about 15 hours of watching Donald Trump and accompanying events. So it made for a full day on Monday. So people are having a field day with this event, which was televised, like I said, for a total of 15 hours. And started with the morning, the day, with them breakfast, the church, and everything else. And ending with the inaugural ball that was held that evening. And due to the cold, the event was moved indoors, which is another first-time thing, if I am understanding it correctly. And as can be expected, the supporters were feeling all warm and fuzzy. Even the parade was indoors. And it was at the sports arena for Washington, D.C. And I had been there years ago. I was treated to an event where the Wizards played the Hawks by my son, oldest son. And that's how I got introduced into the arena when it was new. But that being said, his supporters, Donald Trump's supporters, were all warm and fuzzy about his winning the election, which is more than what they were willing to admit when President Biden won 4 years ago. One of his nominees was also his lawyer representing him in the election interference case, and she's been nominated for a position in his administration. And the committee member, also a female, was interviewing her, asked her, did Donald Trump win the election? And her response was, Biden is president. And the committee person said, well, even if I don't like it, I can say that Donald Trump won the 2024 election. And lady made another comment and it went to another thing, but it was a video clip that I'm taking that information from. So anyway, going back a few days, in his farewell speech to the nation, President Biden took a moment to warn us to keep our eyes open, stay alert, and be careful. Excuse me. There's been a lot of back and forth between the presidents about what's been done, what hasn't been done, who should have done what to who. So that being said, say what you will, President Biden took office in January 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic started shortly after that and continued until May 2023, when it was officially lifted or stopped being referred to as a pandemic. Some people listened to what the Biden administration had to say about that, and some people didn't. If you did listen, that might be the reason you are here to see the start of another Trump administration. I say that with a smile on my face. Getting back to Monday's events, President Trump is in this process of signing 200 executive orders. The ones that are currently drawing the most attention is the pardoning of the January 6th rioters. So at this point, I'm going to pause and take you back to an article. Take you back to an article that was published by Reuters on January 5th, 2022, entitled, Trump Wanted to Join Capitol Riot, Tried to Grab Limo Steering Wheel, Aide Says. So this has a few details, but I'm going to share it rather than just round and pound over every event and everything that he said and how much the crowd cheered and, you know, politicians making promises that they don't fulfill. So here we go. This is from Reuters. June 28th. Donald Trump tried to grab the steering wheel of his presidential limo on January 6, 2021, when his security detail declined to take him to the U.S. Capitol, where his supporters were rioting. A former aide testified on Tuesday. The then president dismissed concerns that some supporters gathered for his fiery speech outside the White House that day carried AR-15 style rifles, instead asking security to stop screening attendees with metal detecting magnetometers so the crowd would look larger, the aide testified. Take the effing mags away. They're not here to hurt me. Cassidy Hutchinson, who was a top aide to Trump's then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, quoted Trump as saying that morning. Hutchinson, in testimony on the sixth day of House of Representatives hearings into the deadly January 6 Capitol assault by Trump's followers, said the conversation was relayed to her by Tony Ornato, a senior Secret Service official who was Trump's deputy chief of staff for operations. New York Times and NBC, citing sources in the Secret Service, said the head of Trump's security detail, Robert Engel, and the limousine driver were prepared to testify under oath that Trump never lunged for the steering wheel. Engel was in the room when Ornato relayed the story, Hutchinson said. The New York Times and CNN, citing unnamed sources, said Ornato also denied the story and was willing to testify. Excuse me. Citing her conversation with Ornato, Hutchinson testified that Trump struggled with Secret Service agents who insisted he return to the White House rather than join supporters storming the Capitol, where Congress was meeting to certify Democrat Joe Biden's victory over him in the presidential election. Trump supporters were roused by his false claims that his 2020 election defeat was the result of fraud. "I'm the effing president. Take me up to the Capitol now," Hutchinson quoted an enraged Trump as saying. She said Trump tried from the backseat to grab the steering wheel of the heavily armored presidential vehicle and lunged in an anger at a Secret Service official. Trump, a Republican, denied her account of his actions. Her fake story that I tried to grab the steering wheel of the White House limousine in order to stir it to the Capitol building is sick and fraudulent, Trump wrote on Truth Social, his social media app. In a statement, the Secret Service said it was cooperating fully with the committee and would continue to do so. We learned the new information shared at today's hearing and plan on responding formally and on the record as soon as they can accommodate us. Hutchinson's lawyer, Jody Hunt, wrote on Twitter that she had testified under oath and recounted what she was told. Those with knowledge of the episode also should testify under oath. Dozens of courts, election officials, and reviews by Trump's own administration rejected his fraud claims, including outlandish stories about an Italian security firm and the late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez tampering with U.S. ballots. 4 people died the day of the attack, one fatally shot by police and the others of natural causes. More than 100 police officers were injured, and one died the next day. 4 officers later died by suicide. Witness tampering? At the end of about 2 hours of testimony, Representative Liz Cheney, one of 2 Republicans of the 9-member House panel, presented possible evidence of witness tampering and obstruction of justice. Cheney showed messages to unidentified witnesses advising them that an unidentified person would be watching their testimony closely and expecting loyalty. Republican Mick Mulvaney, who served as Trump's chief of staff before Meadows, tweeted, "There is an old maxim. It's never the crime, it's always the cover-up." Things went very badly for the former president today. My guess is that it will get worse from here. Hutchinson told the committee that Meadows and Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, had sought pardons from Trump. Giuliani told WSYR Radio in Syracuse, New York on Tuesday that he had not sought a pardon. Tuesday's hastily called meeting marked the first time this month in 6 hearings that a former White House official appeared for live testimony. Speaking in soft but assured tones, Hutchinson, 26, painted a picture of panicked White House officials bristling at the possibility of Trump's joining what was to become a violent mob pushing its way into the Capitol, hunting for his vice president, Mike Pence, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and other lawmakers who were certifying the victory of Biden over Trump. Every crime imaginable. The White House officials' worries focused on the potential criminal charges Trump and others could face. "We're going to get charged with every crime imaginable," Hutchinson said. White House Counselor Pat Kilponi told her if Trump were to go to the Capitol on January 6th. "We need to make sure that this doesn't happen. This would be a really terrible idea for us. We have serious legal concerns if we go up to the Capitol that day," Cipollone said. Hutchinson testified. Hutchinson, who sat doors away from Trump's Oval Office, testified that days before the attack on the U.S. Capitol, Meadows knew of the looming violence that could unfold. "Things might get real bad on January 6th, she quoted him as saying inside the White House on January 2nd with her boss. She testified that Giuliani had said of January 6th, "We're going to the Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful." At that point, she told the committee of 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, "It was the first moment that I remembered feeling scared and nervous of what could happen on January 6th. This month's hearings featured videotape testimony from figures including Trump's oldest daughter, Ivanka Trump, and his former Attorney General, Bill Barr. They and other witnesses testified that they did not believe Trump's false claims of widespread fraud and tried to dissuade him of them. Before signing, Barr told the Associated Press in an interview there was no evidence of fraud. That angered Trump so much that he threw his lunch at a White House wall, breaking a porcelain dish and leaving ketchup dripping down the wall, according to Hutchinson. She told the committee it was not unusual for Trump to throw food when he was angry. There were several times throughout my tenure with the chief of staff that I was aware of him either throwing dishes or flipping the tablecloth to let all the contents of the table go onto the floor and likely break or go elsewhere. So that's from Reuters, dated July 5th, 2022. And I realize that's all past history, but sometimes it helps to look back and see what the moment was like at that time. So that being said, what we are emphasizing and what was emphasized by the Biden administration is a peaceful transfer of government. But I was in a conversation the other day with somebody that I knew, and because of all these pardons related to January 6th, her comment was, just think, they went up into the Capitol looking, broke into the Capitol, looking for Nancy Pelosi in her office and just tore the place up. So I think it was Imagine actually breaking in and going to Nancy Pelosi's office looking for her. And that's verified by that particular article. So, we were that's that moment with the inauguration and everything. So my response was, sometimes we have to like flip things around a little bit, to get a different perspective or a different focus. Something like this amongst the common people is referred to as breaking and entering. So breaking and entering is like a title for a daytime crime when there's a home invasion. Burglary is the same thing, but at night, and the adjustment is that it's more likely for people to be at home at night if somebody breaks into their home, which would lead to potential harm to the occupants. But if that was your home, an emphasis on home, not necessarily yours, like I'm singling somebody out. But if somebody broke into your home like that and tore everything up, and was specifically looking for individuals, to do harm to, what would your attitude be? We know how we feel about it on a common level when we hear about it on the news. So it's just that the circumstances, location is different. And this is just a discussion, a conversation, a few points that I'm making personally has happened. And these comments came out of the pardons that President Trump has signed in regards to the January 6th rioters. So that was just that one moment between her and I, and the conversation went to other topics and so forth and so on. So I just thought I would put that in there. So here we are. That was then, this is now. And the Biden administration had emphasized, unlike that particular moment when he took office, the peaceful transfer of government. So when Vice President Kamala Harris went to the Capitol to validate Trump's win for taking office, then that was what she was there to do. So there was another situation that I wanted to bring up to you since I'm here. Like, I really hadn't planned on coming in all week as far as the sideshow with Theodore Parker was concerned, because I just was just going to observe, the first week of the administration and take it from there. But here I am, like I said, due to cold weather situations and extremes and that nature, I at least wanted to come on and say something about that. But here is something on the other side of the coin. As you know, there were performances by the YMCA and other entertainment personalities and celebrities for the event, some at the inauguration and then some at the ball. So comments are coming out in regards to that. So to kind of round the corner and to somewhat take the edge off of it a little bit, this is an article from, I'm not sure if it's Politics or Variety because both of them are mentioned, but at least the title of it is this: Nelly addresses criticism of performance at Trump inauguration ball. I'm doing this because it's an honor. So here we go. So it's not as long as the one I just gave you, but I do want to share it with you. Nelly is speaking out against critics who have denounced his performance at tomorrow's Liberty inaugural ball, one of 3 official balls celebrating Donald Trump's return to the presidency. Carrie Underwood to sing America the Beautiful at Trump's inauguration. It continues. The St. Louis rapper addressed the appearance during an interview with Willie D Live, downplaying the political implications of the performance and stating that he simply honored the event by showing up for the event. He says, "I thought you was riding with me because I put on for my city and I try to bring my city up every step of the way. I did not know you was riding with me because you thought I would ride with who you voted for. I didn't know that," he said. "I didn't know I had to agree with your political choices, and I thought it was a thing that you do not do, not the things that you say should be done. If you follow what I do, this shouldn't even be an argument. He's the president. He won. This isn't a campaign. This isn't an RNC. I'm not out on a political campaign." He continued by likening the performance to the same sense of civic duty that American military personnel feel in defending their country. "I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because it's an honor. I respect the office. It doesn't matter who is in the office," he said. "The same way that our men and women, our brothers and sisters who protect this country, have to go to war and have to put their life on the line for whoever in office. So if they can put their life on the line for whoever in office, I can damn sure perform." Willie D brought up criticisms that performing for the office meant appearing in support of Trump. "More than half this country voted for Trump. If you respect the process when the process works in your favor, respect the process when it doesn't work in your favor," responded Nelly. Numerous representatives for the rapper did not respond to Variety's earlier request for comment. At the Liberty inaugural ball, Nelly will grace the stage alongside Village People, whose classic YMCA became a recurring song played during Trump's campaign rallies. The video clip of YMCA performing and Trump and his family members observing it, they stood in front of YMCA and blocked the audience's view of the performance. That's a video clip as well. Anyway, became a reoccurring song played during Trump's campaign rallies. Village People released a statement earlier this week about its involvement in events surrounding Trump's swearing in. "We know this won't make some of you happy to hear, however, we believe that music is to be performed without regard to politics," the group wrote on Facebook. "Our song, YMCA, is a global anthem that hopefully helps bring the country together after a tumultuous and divided campaign where our preferred candidate lost. Therefore, we believe it's now time to bring the country together with music, which is why Village People will be performing at various events as part of the 2025 inauguration of Donald J. Trump." While Nelly and Village People will perform at the balls, Carrie Underwood, Lee Greenwood, and Christopher Machio are scheduled to perform at the inauguration itself. On Friday, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, and Soulja Boy appeared at the Crypto Ball, eliciting divisive online reactions and pointed out previous contradictory statements made by some of the rappers. Nelly also sang a different tune about Trump, telling Page 6 in 2017 that he didn't agree with his approach as commander-in-chief. "You know, the thing about Donald Trump is that I like Donald Trump. I just don't like Donald Trump as my president," he said. "Dude is a trip. Pre-presidency, I was cool with the Donald. I loved his hotels. I'm more or less mad at him because I can't stay at his hotel now. His words, you done fucked that up, and I've been staying there for 15 years, and now you pulled this." Get it together, homie. So that's how the article ends. This is a democratic society that we live in, so we process that, and hopefully for the benefit of all of us, whether we agree to disagree or not. So, since I'm here and all that's been said, this side and that side, might as well take a look at the top 10 stories for today. Excuse me. Again, Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Top stories are: Trump signed an order to end birthright citizenship. What is it and what does that mean? Number 2, a finance CEO tells BI he's ready to take over Ramaswamy's Doge position. He just needs to talk. Lakers LeBron James becomes second player ever with a triple-double after turning 40. Brian Moynihan says big banks like BOFA may have to adopt crypto payments as wealth. Executive orders signed by Trump so far, the 2025 list. Next one, Trump orders all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion employees placed on paid leave starting. Meta says it's addressing issues with political hashtag search. See Trump react to Reverend's plea to have mercy on immigrants, LGBTQ community. Renewable giants shrug off Trump's anti-wind policies. Electrification is absolutely ... Hotel fire at ski resort kills at least 76. So those are your top 10 stories. And just as a way to say I'm not too self-involved, there was an earthquake in Taiwan. I think there was 27 that lost their lives in that one. So I think that's just about covers what I had to say for today from the Sideshow with Theodore Parker. It's been said by various people that with this administration, you might want to buckle up, strap in, get you some popcorn. One person even said, get you a bite stick. Either way it goes, 4 years ahead. Trump administration. President Donald J. Trump. Again, this is a Sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. That's it. Hashtag.